Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark, and I have a frog in my throat. Anyway, today we're going to make creamed sweet peas and potatoes. This is one of those other side dishes that often showed up when I was a kid on holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and also a lot of times during the week because it's absolutely delicious and it's a relatively quick and easy recipe. Okay, so as you can see, I've got some water boiling. Now, it's sweet peas and creamed sweet peas and potatoes. So I've got 2 cups of frozen peas. Of course, you can use fresh if you have them. That would be awesome. But that's what my mom always used. So we've got just about 2 cups of frozen peas. The next major ingredient is our potatoes. I've got about 2 pounds of russet potatoes cut into about bite-sized pieces. All right, guys, of course, they've been peeled and chopped. Now, you could use almost any kind of potato you want. You could use, the little tiny baby potatoes and just cut them in half. Yellow, reds. I've seen a lot of different ways that people, or a lot of different types of potatoes that people use. My mom always used the russet, so that's what we're going to do. All right, then we need some cream. So I've got here 3 cups of half and half. This frog does not want to go in. Now, you could use whole milk. You could use light cream. You could even use heavy cream to make it even more delicious and decadent. But we're going to use half and half because that's what my mom always used. All right, and we're going to make a roux. So we're going to need some butter and we need some flour, which I forgot to get, but we'll get that in a minute. Then, of course, we need some salt and pepper to taste. That's all my mother ever used in this was salt and pepper. If you want to get creative and add some of your own spice profiles, go right ahead. The only thing I've changed on this is I'm using some Better Than Bouillon seasoned vegetable base. Of course, my mom wouldn't have used this. This wouldn't have been around when my mom was, but she would either use chicken. Sometimes she'd use vegetable bouillon or even beef. And we use the vegetable because, of course, we've got our cream, which wouldn't necessarily be vegetarian. But if you're somebody that does use dairy products and you eat vegetarian, you could easily do this with the vegetarian base or vegetarian bouillon. And of course, if you're vegan, you could substitute your dairy for whatever your favorite milk substitute is. I've never changed it, but I think it would come out pretty much the same. Maybe not quite as creamy, but anyway. So that's basically we need. What we got 1, 2, 3. With the spice, there's 4. If we want to count our roux, that's 5 ingredients. Now, we've done this before in another recipe where we didn't want our potatoes to get too overcooked. So in this case, I'm going to start with boiling salted water, and I'm going to put my potatoes in. Now, you could go ahead and boil them if you want, but this is just going to kind of ensure that they don't get overcooked because we don't want them to be too mushy, especially we're using the russet potato, which is going to be, really starchy anyway. Now, once that comes back to a boil, you want it to, you're going to give it about 10 minutes, all right? So we're going to let that come back to a boil, and then I'm going to add in our peas. I'll do that when we come back. We're going to add in our peas, and, these are, they're not quite thawed yet. Thawed yet? Yeah, how would that be? Quietly thawed? They're not quite thawed yet. Okay, so we're going to put those in, and we'll let them go another minute or 2. We'll test our, our potatoes, see if they're done, and we'll just let them warm up, and then we'll make our cream sauce and mix everything together. So we'll see you when our potatoes are just about done. See you in a bit. All right, guys, let's check on our potatoes. Again, we want them fork tender. And they are perfect. All right, so I'm going to add our peas just to kind of get them warm through. And we'll give it a little bit of a stir. I'm hoping I can do this all in one pot and use this pot here to make our cream sauce in. Now, if yours were totally frozen, or if according to the package direction they needed to cook a little, mine were, ready to go right in the microwave, so I think that's good. All right, I'm going to drain them. Oop. Stop it, you. All right, and we'll leave them to hang out there for a minute. I'll give this a quick rinse.
Did you say how much water you use to boil potatoes in?
Well, you need at least enough to cover it, by the top inch or so. But I don't think I actually did, so thank you. All right, so we got our, I'm going to try that. Just don't, so we don't have a lot of splattering. All right, and we got our butter. Get that in there. Oops, and guess what? I forgot the flour. You guys can watch the butter melt, and I'll get some flour. All right, so we got 6 tablespoons of butter in here that we're letting melt. In the meantime, we can measure out some flour. And we're going to need 4 tablespoons at least. Three. Up. All right. Our butter's almost melted. I'm going to get a little bit of more milk. I'll be right back. Just in case I want to thin it down a little bit, but. So again, guys, we're making a roux. All right. Put our flour in there. And we want to get it stirred. I'm going to turn it down slightly. I was on medium-high. And again, we've done this several times. We just want to give that a little bit of time to, cook away that floury smell. So with the roux like this, the longer you let it saute, the darker it would become. If you want a really dark roux, in this case, we don't necessarily want a dark roux. Now you'll notice I haven't put any salt or pepper in anything really, other than a little bit of salt for the potatoes. Smells delicious. So you want to let it just, kind of cook there in the pan, saute a bit, keep it moving till it kind of starts to smell nutty. And it does. So then you want to start to slowly add your liquid in. And as long as you keep it moving around, you're not going to get any lumps. Look at that. Not a lump in sight. So now I'm going to increase the heat, and we're going to start to bring it up to a high simmer. Now we can add a little bit of pepper in here. And I'm going to just do a pinch of salt. Maybe a pinch and a half. And as that warms up, it will begin to thicken, hopefully. Now, the reason I said you notice I didn't add a lot of salt or pepper to that, because I'm going to use this chicken base, this vegetable base bouillon, and that in and of itself can be a bit salty. So, we're going to taste this after we put a little bit in and decide if we need some more. Alright, heat up. What's wrong with this little thing today? It doesn't seem to be heating properly. Of course, you could do this with a cornstarch slurry too. But again, my mother always did a roux with flour, so we're going to do it that way. And I'm going to add a little bit of our vegetable bouillon. And I'll start with about a teaspoon. And we'll get back in there with our whisk. And, I don't know, I think I'll let you guys go so you don't have to sit here and watch me stir this till it begins to thicken. We'll be right back. Alright guys, we're at about the perfect consistency. I'll show you in a minute with a spoon. We're going to give it a little taste. I'm going to turn this down quite a bit, because if we bring this any further to a boil, it's going to start to get thicker and thicker. Well, let's give it a little taste. Oh, that's good. I'm going to put a little bit more veggie in there. I think it could do with just a little bit more salt and pepper. I'm going to shut that off. Alright, we'll give it a couple more pinches of pepper. Oh, that's a big pinch. That's fresh ground pepper. I just ground that a little while ago. Another pinch of salt. Lots. Oh, you could just eat that. I could. That came out beautiful. All right. Now, we're going to try to fold that in gently so we don't break everything apart. Look at that. Yeah, the only thing left to do is I might let that just sit there for a minute or two. Let everything, the potatoes absorb some of that, but we're just about done. All right, I'm going to clean up this mess, and we'll be back, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, of course, the best part of cooking is the eating. But also, let me just comment, ignore my chairs up on top of the table in the back. I was going to wash the floor today, but I never got around to it. But we're having company for Easter, so I'm going to have to do it sometime this week. All right, hey, let's get to our creamed sweet
Peas and potatoes.
You'll notice the sauce will thicken up as it cools down.
I noticed that, yep. Oh, it's delicious. It's very good.
Absolutely delicious. I would say this batch with the measurements that I've done will feed, 6 as a side course, or side dish, I should say. But I would encourage you, maybe double it, because people are going to love it. Today we're having it with some country spare ribs. And this literally goes with anything. Chicken, pork, veal, ham, beef, vegetables. All right, let me try my spare rib.
Very good. Thank you very
I
much.
told you.
Yep. Yep.
All right, that's all I got to say for the moment.
Thank you guys for watching our videos and having supper with us. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Ciao. That's delicious.
That is.
Oops. Oops. Don't show that. I just broke one of my little glasses and dropped all the cooking sprays all over, but that's all right. As long as one of the cats don't come investigating. Bless you.
Excuse me.